indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have the latest updated agenda.
We do, but just one quick update that
Alright.
just happened moments ago. For the Minnesota lawful gambling application, we believe that we can just send in the meeting minutes. But just in case we need a resolution, there has been one that is typed up and the language is the same as what is in your packet. So we would like you to also approve a resolution if needed.
Yeah,
On that.
That's under the consent agenda.
Yes. So just know that
Okay,
we will send the resolution if they follow up.
didn't we have a public hearing on that before? That was something else? Okay. All right. Anything else? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, approval of board meeting minutes of April 15th. Everybody had a chance to look at those. Is there any additions or corrections? Not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Public comment. Now is the time for anybody who would like to make a public comment to come forward. Come forward and state your name, where you're from.
Sit right here. My name's Don Peterson. I live in Brownsville Township. My wife Sandy and I run a cow calf operation. She's a nurse. And I serve on multiple boards. One of them is My Energy. The other one is Hoke Co-op, a few church boards. But I'm here more or less speaking as a farmer, a resident of Houston County, on the solar moratorium you guys initiated at the first of the year. We're looking at a way to keep our costs in check at the co-op at My Energy. 70% of our costs go to wholesale power costs. And we're looking at this, well, you guys know about it, the solar array out by the Allen Farm out by the Caledonia substation. As a co-op, for our first, and you guys know this as a board too, the first thing you look for is economic development. I mean, you have to find a way to keep people in your territory. Now, as of today, we have 1,012 members with solar on their sites, on sites. But I'm just saying that commercial solar is a lot more efficient system. But speaking as a farmer, you have to find a way to litigate land use. I mean, you can't have these big guys coming in, like, for instance, there's one on 14 between Rochester and Casson that's gonna cover 1,800 acres. And that's prime agricultural land right there. There's also one in Becker, Minnesota, where there's gonna be a data processing center built that's gonna use 2,600 acres. And I mean, this is all in the name of green energy, renewable energy, but the one at the Sherco plants, where the coal plants are closing down, they're trying to get a permitting for 250 diesel generators for backups for the solar array. Now, in my mind, that's not green energy. That's the worst possible energy you can have as far as emission controls. But this is some of the stuff that the commercial solar arrays are doing. And my argument is, if you would cap this at like 40 acres, you'd keep the commercial people out, the big ones that are gonna put it on the transmission lines. If you keep it below 40 acres, you'd be able to build it within the substation and keep all the power local, which will benefit everybody local. And that's first and foremost what our board is all about, is keeping prices down, reliable power at an affordable cost. If you would cap it at the 40 acres, then you could fence it off by the substation. You could pasture it with sheep, goats, or use pollinators. If you just put that in your mandates, in your writing, your policy, it would still be, the comprehensive land plan would still fit. It would keep things down. And then if you keep it small like this, it would help us. It also helps us with these new renewable mandates, because it's local. It goes on our lines. We have to be, supposedly by 2030, we have to have 80% of our power come from renewable. And by 40, 100%, which is not doable right now. One of the things that people are talking about down the road too is, and it's a lot closer than you think, are rolling blackouts, where the power, there isn't enough power to go along, and they're gonna have, and in winter months when they're, or in solar, in summer too, when they're using air conditioning, that we're hit peaks and we're not gonna have enough power. So they're talking about rolling blackouts. These small ones that are incorporated into the substations, we can bypass the transmission lines and still keep the power on locally. In finishing, I'd just like to say that My Energy and Daryl, and we've spent a lot of money looking into this. Some of the costs, we did a MISO feasibility study that cost Daryl $60,000. And there's been just a ton of regulation and stuff, hoops we've jumped through, a lot of management time and effort, and this ain't going away. I mean, it's gonna be built somewhere. We've got money stuck into it. It might not go in Houston County, but it's gonna go by a substation somewhere in our territory, and I just hate to see Houston County lose the benefits of it. I mean, it's gonna be built somewhere. And then I'd like to finish by saying that our cooperative established a local presence, and that will ensure accountability on our end. So thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up,
I have another public comment. I have a guest with me today from CETA, Jamie. She's a new CETA employee. She's gonna be working in Spring Grove, and she just is gonna introduce herself to you guys today.
all right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Longmire. You could also call me Mrs. Fat Pat. Patrick and I own Fat Pat's Brewery in Spring Grove.
Great place, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Just a tiny bit of background on myself. I'm originally from Holmen, Wisconsin. I met Patrick in La Crosse when we were both youngins. We lived in Texas for several years, which is where we learned a little bit about barbecue and some other things. We moved back to Spring Grove in 2017 when we started our food truck, and I worked for my father-in-law, Red, at the grocery store for several years. And then I've also been working at Fat Pat's that entire time. Learned about this opportunity for CETA. Spring Grove now has a 4-day-a-week contract with CETA, and I am going to be that person now in Spring Grove helping with some hopefully new development and progress in town. And then hopefully also working with Allison a little bit here and there with the Houston County EDA. So yeah, I just wanted to have you put a name to the face, and if you see me around here occasionally, that's who I am and what I'm doing here. So it's nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meet you. Anybody else? All right, moving on to appointments.
That appointment is 9:50.
9:50, yeah, I see that.
Requested a late time.
And our closed session, do we wanna do that at the end of the meeting again? All right. Okay, we go to the consent agenda. Number 4 is that gambling permit that we talked about, that you brought up, that possible resolution we would have to sign, so just keep that in mind when we approve this consent agenda. Is there any questions on the consent agenda?
We lost our mechanic, huh?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Move on to action items. Number 1, consider accepting MCIT's offer of $215,171 for the value of our truck that was in a rollover, so.
Yeah, so on March 19th, we had a plow truck that tipped onto its side during the last big snow event that we had of the year. We have been working with MCIT since that time, and the estimate to repair the existing plow truck is $159,292.42 is the repair estimate. And that is an estimate based on not having any major or any electrical repairs to go along with that. When that truck tipped on its side, we lost windows and stuff, and it was exposed to the wet, heavy snow that day for a few hours. So, and then it got towed back into town behind a wrecker being, snow being kicked up into the cab. So we're speaking with the MCIT, and internally, there's some unknowns on would their truck have ongoing electrical issues, even if it was repaired. The market valuation report, put together by an independent consultant or contractor there for MCIT, has a base value of a valuation of $216,136. So it will be, if you look at the percentage, they could repair the truck, and if there's no unknowns that would pop up, that truck would maybe not have a salvage title on it, and they had a potential to, if the repair cost went above that, to have a salvage title, and you have ongoing potential electrical issues. So the recommendation by MCIT and staff, and I've spoken with Carol about this as well, is to accept MCIT's valuation and consider the truck a total loss. They would cut a check to the county in the amount of $215,171. So that's the market value, take away our $1,000 deductible, and then they add $35 on it for a title and transfer fees as the truck would get signed over to MCIT.
What year was that truck, 2022?
2022, just a 3-year-old truck.
So they're gonna give us $215,000, I've been thinking about this since you brought it up at land use, but they're gonna give us $250,000 for the whole thing. That includes the truck and the box. That seems light to me, Brian, because that truck is worth $400,000. I mean,
Yeah.
the value in that box at, I mean,
Yep, so I think they gave it 97 thousand is what it was.
for the box, and then the rest was for the chassis.
Well, 91,000 what they put in there to repair the damage to the box. They don't have the box split out on what that cost would be.
So the box had damage in the tune of 97,000.
So to repair it, they're saying it would be 91,000 to repair the box. Which essentially what they're thinking is it probably would ultimately be putting on a new box and components, you
It's
know,
twisted.
and yeah, so there's some unknowns as far as how much it's really twisted. The box raises and lowers fine. The front corner where the lights mount is definitely bent down and twisted. And when they stand back and they look at the box, they say it may be twisted, it may not. They're thinking that it is, but they don't know until they get some lasers on it to really do some checking and know if it's really twisted. But
Looked
but
twisted to the naked eye.
their assumption is that it's twisted at this time.
I'll agree with that.
So MCIT, you know, some insurance companies have replacement value. Obviously, they don't do that.
That's my understanding is that they don't.
Well, you got, the one below says that we can get a different truck for 158,000, is that right?
Yes, so, yep, so the next two items, so that, the 158,000, that is for the truck itself, not the box and the plow equipment. So when you add the box and the plow equipment, that's the following one on it for 217,000, so total to replace this unit, it's gonna be about 376,000.
Minus the 215, 171 that they give us.
Right.
Minus, yes, so the net cost to the county is about that 150,000, a little over 150,000.
Didn't do much good to have insurance, did it?
Well, when you look at how, I mean, it's like buying a fire truck. It's very expensive.
They're really expensive.
So what's the alternative?
Well, I talked to Brian this morning about possibly using that box if it's not twisted. Putting it on the new chassis, but, I mean, it's not that old of a box. But, I don't know if you wanna take that chance or not. Plus, you have to buy it back from MCIT,
We would have to buy it back from MCT,
what
yeah.
that cost is.
Probably more than what it is to fix it.
Well, the box is more than the truck on these things.
Yeah, and that 217,000, you know, that's the box, that's the wing, that's the underbody, the
brackets.
mounting bracket, all the electric controls for it, the spreader, yeah, there's all the other stuff, so it's, you know, side wing, front plow, you know, yeah, so there's a lot of stuff, but,
Plow and that's all okay, or is that
so,
twisted?
so the front plow we have, actually, that was not on that truck, so we have that, so that is not, part of the repair of what MCT is gonna, to give us, so that becomes essentially a spare plow, spare front plow.
So it's obvious there's a big depreciation on that. From the 3 years it's been in service.
Yeah, so when we bought that truck, depreciation, but also the 2022 models, the prices, that was right at the beginning when the prices really started to jump up. I think we purchased that truck for a little under 280,000. Versus the new trucks now coming in at
Do they look
close
at
to
that?
380.
They look what you
So
paid for it, though, they shouldn't.
they look at what they use the comparables of what 2022 plow trucks are selling for.
How many miles were on it?
$25,326 or 25,736. So yeah,
And how much do they want to repair it, top to bottom?
they're saying it's 130,000 to repair it, and that is not figuring in having to do anything with the electrical wiring.
So what if we gamble and fix it, and then we trade this one off when we get our next new one? We usually dump a truck, right?
Yeah,
Worried about this electrical, why don't we,
130,000 on top of?
130 total to do this?
no, they're saying 160,000 to repair, and that would not be, that's not figuring out any electrical components with that.
But the insurance would pay for all that.
Yes.
So there would be no extra cost to the county at this point, if we chose to repair it.
we'd have our deductible,
$1,000 is
and
that?
we'd have to agree, you know, MCIT would have to agree to do the repairs, or, how does that work, Carol? If MCIT, I mean, they'd have to agree to cover the cost for that repair, to repair it. I mean, it's, yeah. What we would get for it once it's repaired, so our truck, because we have a live bottom in it, and we run the product forward and out the side for where our spreader is, it's not quite as much demand as if it had just a conventional box on it. So what we would get for a sale value of that vehicle versus if it was a standard dump truck.
Yeah, not
it's
everybody
not
wants
quite an
those.
apples to apples comparison. So that,
We're talking to at $950,
Yeah. Isn't
so
that
we
the
would be
MCIT?
able to ask him a lot of questions.
I don't know if he knew any.
yeah, I don't know if.
He's just the board report.
Oh, okay.
That'd be the same. Okay, well, if he would know, I mean, we can definitely table this till after that, this and the next two items, they all go kind of hand in hand.
I don't wanna make a decision on that until we have more information.
Yeah,
Yep.
Tom Kolthoff is the one that I've been dealing with, but
I mean, shit, if we can fix it for $160.
So we gotta decide whether we wanna buy a new truck, a new body, or repair the old one, which is $168,000, you said.
$159,292.42 is the estimate. Up actually another thousand above that because of the deductible, so $160,292.42.
Compared to the one.
Compared to totaling the whole thing out,
215?
getting 215 and then coming up with another $130,000 to make up the difference.
Well, it would be more like 170-some thousand.
Is there any advantage of doing that for your rotation of the trucks that you do? One way or the other?
Our rotation, we replace one a year, essentially, so our oldest truck, usually when we're getting rid of it, it's at, 12, 13 years out.
But if we fix that one, like,
So if we fix it, it's kind of stays in that rotation unless we sell it and try to get a different one. I don't want to, skip the next truck, even if, whatever we do with this, I want to purchase another truck come January of next year, so I don't want to.
so there's no advantage or disadvantage is what you're saying?
I don't know if there's a major one. I mean, we were talking about a 3-year-old truck or a brand new one. It's more of that, what are we gonna have for long-term issues if we kept that one? So you're right, if we fix it and try to sell it, what are we gonna get? We may come out ahead, we may not, and at that point, do we keep it and take the chance on the electricals, so.
It might might never have any electrical, and it might be every month.
Exactly.
So we don't know that.
You said the cab was exposed.
Yep. Yeah, so when it tipped the front window, the side windows, everything popped out of it. It tipped at about 1 o'clock, and it wasn't covered up until about 4:30 that day. So 3.5 hours, and during that time, that was when it really dumped on us. So it was, close to 6 inches of snow during that time.
So the electronics in the cab got pretty wet.
Everything got wet. Yeah.
For the new one.
And these trucks are a lot more electronics than a typical car, so.
So it's actually 170, what you got there?
171,610.24 to replace. If they're gonna give us 215, the truck's 169.
And the body is 217.
17 minus, take that 215 off of that, gives us 2195, and the new chassis is 169, so it'd be 171,610.24 to replace the whole truck.
Yes.
Is there any negotiating with the MCIT on this? I think what they're
Yes.
offering is light myself, but
Yeah, so we thought that we approached, I emailed Tom, him and I had a couple conversations on the phone and a couple emails back and forth. We thought that the live bottom of that truck is worth a lot more. They ultimately came back and they lowered the valuation actually on the vehicle. So they said the live bottom was worth, about $7,500, and the stainless steel box is worth 13,000 less than a aluminum box, of which a lot of manufacturers are no longer even putting on aluminum boxes because they had some issues in municipal environments. So we thought the value should be higher, but we've been,
As long as he's coming today, it'd be a good day to work him for that.
It's not the same person.
Not the
though, is
same
it?
person.
yeah, the
Same
other,
company.
yeah, you're right, it's a different person. The other thing is, this is when I was talking to them, they said, you know, it's kind of at that borderline on the value, that if the value is worth more, then it's gonna flip MCT's recommendations as far as doing a repair versus replacement. So they're not gonna give us more money and say, here you go, more money toward a new truck. They're gonna say it's worth more, so they're just gonna tell us it's gonna be repaired. And then we're stuck with that option, so. So if we wanna have a choice, it's this value or it's gonna be repaired.
So could we find out what they would resell that body back to us for?
I can definitely ask the question.
What do you guys wanna do?
Rather wait.
I wanna
Should we
table
table
this
it?
That-
until we have more information. I
Yeah,
don't know if
see,
that's what
we,
you're looking for, but that's,
Hopefully we won't get no snow for a while, so we can make a decision.
Yeah, the big push really on the timeline of this at this time is more MCIT saying they're paying to store that truck by the day. So they want a decision made, so that way they can stop paying for storage and figure out a final solution with that truck, so.
where's it being held at?
It's at Ness's repair shop up in Eau Claire. So there's just limited
Is it gonna
places
be an
that,
issue to wait till next week to make a decision?
well, there's no board meeting next week,
Oh, that's
so
right.
it'll be 2 weeks. So, you know, I'm not trying to push to make a decision today by any means. I mean, this was it's a big decision and it's a last minute item addition to the agenda. So I'm okay with waiting 2 weeks, but just so you know, MCIT is pushing on it. I mean, I think this last email that they sent even said, yeah, a couple steps to go through on their end and they hope to cut the check this week or last week. Or I mean, it was like, yeah, they wanna,
if you're saying
this figured out.
less than they should be.
Should be
So is it
75.
agreed to
You're
table,
$60,000.
table this for 2 weeks?
I agree
Or,
with it.
I'm good.
Wait.
all right, we'll table it.
okay. We'll table the next 2 items as well.
Yep.
Shorten that
Brian.
meeting right up.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, number 4, we're going to consider approving feedlot program annual report and final report. Amelia?
So I have Jeremy here with me today. He is the new feedlot officer, and we're just bringing forward the annual report. I guess kind of for the benefit of the new commissioners. So the feedlot program, we are considered a delegated county, meaning that we receive grant money from the state to fund a position here that does feedlot regulation within the county. We do only have jurisdiction on all of the sites under 1,000 animal units, which is the majority of what we have here. I think we only have 2 that are under MPCA jurisdiction. The minimum requirements of the program say that we have to do routine inspections on 7% of our feedlots every year, which is 21. As you can see from the report, that is a standard that we have met this year. On top of that, some of the other items that are done in a year, we're currently towards the end of a registration cycle. Every 4 years, feedlots have to complete kind of a survey just to see if animal units have updated or been increased or decreased, and if there's been any changes to the operation. So Jeremy is just finishing up the 4-year cycle on that. And then we also permit construction and expansion on sites over 300 animal units, and we did issue 2 permits last year. And I guess kind of the final item is that since COVID, we haven't had the ability to organize a workshop for producers at all. And last year, we took the opportunity, it's generally something that we coordinate with Fillmore and Winona counties just to try to get a few more people in attendance. And so last year, instead of just doing one, we decided we would set up a series of 3 workshops. And so we were hosting in Mabel, Chatfield, and Lewiston, and it was December, January, February. We did end up having to cancel the December one due to low participants RSVPing, but we did have good turnouts in January and February, so we hope to continue that into this year. But I don't know if you have anything to add?
No.
Do you guys have any questions?
Do we have that information in our packet, or is that?
It was in the agenda request, I know that.
I'm just looking.
Yes,
Was
it-
there any information in the packet? for
Yep,
that?
it should have been an annual, do you want to hold that up? An annual report, that, and then a
Okay, that's
financial
it.
report
Okay,
behind it.
Got it. Yep,
This-
got that. It's really tiny.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I just thought there was.
You got a letter here from MPCA, Peter Kniesel, saying everything is good. Any questions? All right, good job.
Looks
Is
good.
there, you need a motion to approve that, or no?
Yep, we'll just need it approved and then your signature after.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. All right, good
Thank
work.
you.
Thank you. All right, number 5, discussion and possible action to approve adjusting appointed department head descriptions to state reporting to the county administrator instead of reporting to the Board of Commissioners.
Good morning. So this came up a couple weeks ago at a personnel committee meeting that we had. Obviously, last July, you appointed an interim county administrator, and there's multiple different forms of county government. You have the board form where the department heads report to the board. You have a county administrator form of government where you appoint a county administrator and those department heads report to that county administrator, and so on. So this is kind of just a discussion as far as right now what we have is we have our appointed department heads. Their job descriptions do state that they are come to the Board of Commissioners, and the Board of Commissioners have the direct authority over those department heads. So kind of your thoughts and opinions on your future outlook as far as what you see Houston County government to be, if that is a county administrator model moving forward, which I have no reason to believe that it's not. We might want to change that to reflect that. Some of the good reasons to change that as well is when we start talking about performance evaluations and performance reviews, that county administrator then has those authority to start doing those performance evaluations and performance reviews on department heads and kind of keep everything in compliance. So, and that's kind of something that Houston County hasn't necessarily been great at, is with the performance evaluations and reviews, and something that we are looking at changing and remodeling and restructuring along with our policy manual. And so this is just to kind of line everything up as far as the direction that the commission wants Houston County to go as far as its organizational charts. So that's the discussion that we brought to you.
So just a clarification, so are you talking about all department head jobs at this point, or just those that are?
So it'd be the appointed department heads. So obviously the elected department heads like the sheriff, the county attorney. If you were to choose to keep the recorder as elected, those would just be elected.
Auditor,
Yep, auditor, treasurer. If you were to choose to make those appointed, then that individual would obviously be under the county administrator. So then the county administrator would have authority over that person for day-to-day function, activity, and administration.
Well, we have an administrator. I think they ought to report to her.
So like, when they come to, before the meetings, like Brian came with us on this
Yeah.
deal here.
Yep.
So that, they'll be reporting to Carol, then Carol would have to come here and,
No, that would
No,
continue.
no,
They
this
would
is-
still represent their functions to
Yeah.
the county board.
This is just day-to-day oversight as far as, departmental procedures, performance, day-to-day type things. Nothing would really change outside of what it would look like to you. And, speaking to department heads, that was one of, one of them said, we still want to have that connection with the board. And they obviously would. I mean, I report to Carol, but I speak to you a lot. And so,
Right.
there is that connection. This is, every day behind the scenes, day-to-day administration of the county function.
Well, part of the role of the county administrator that I see is that coordination of all the different departments. And I think it's very problematic to have individual department heads report directly to 5 different board members. So, I think that the ease of communication operationally or day-to-day is with personnel issues, with anything else, that comes up, makes sense within that, to have those individuals report to the county administrator. I'm just asking if, how do we want to do this? I just don't want to piecemeal it, to have
Sure.
someone not have on their job description that they aren't reporting in this direction and somebody else is, because then that seems kind of arbitrary.
Yeah, so in the job descriptions, and what I can do is I can bring back those job descriptions to as a later date. This is not something that is a necessity to hash out today. And right now, they're basically the first sentence in that is, I'm gonna pick on the IT director, right? The IT director is,
good one to pick on.
he's an easy one to pick on. The ID director is basically reports to the Board of Commissioners. And instead it would be like the IT director reports to the county, or the county administrator. And so that's basically the first line in every single job description is kind of who you report to, who's your first report that you go to if you need something. And then obviously the Board of Commission is the Board of Commission, and that stays. So that's, it's not like the Board of Commission is out of those conversations by any means.
I dare say that this has been going on anyway. I mean, people have been reporting.
It has, I mean, it's been functioning like
It's
that.
just getting it in writing and this is how it
Exactly.
works.
The job
Exactly.
description of the county administrator says the department heads report to that,
Right.
Yes.
to that position.
So it's basically, there'll be really no change, it's just changing the paper that, I
Right.
can't change the paper without your approval, so.
It's a good direction, in my opinion.
Well, that way the administrator brings the department head here and we discuss it and everybody's on the same page. It's nobody sneaking around having meetings with somebody on the side and that. This way here it goes through Carol and we're done.
I think
Still continue having the department head meetings then with the,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yep. Personnel committee meetings, department head meetings, your land use, all that stuff, that functions just like normal. It's just the Monday through Friday, everyday administrative, responsibility of work within the county.
I think it's very difficult for an individual and the department head to take direction from several different people. That's impossible, in most jobs. So I think it's a plus. And most counties also have a county administrator or coordinator, whatever they tend to call it, in that role for that purpose.
Yep.
So they have kind of a filter, for, and also the consistency is great that way, that all the departments kind of filter through that way.
So is it the recommendation of the personnel committee then that we should do this?
I think so.
had a discussion with it.
Yeah, we brought it up a couple weeks ago to personnel committee.
We talked about it and bringing it forward and seeing
Okay.
if it makes sense, so I would probably just bring back, maybe have us bring back the updated descriptions so we can see them and then,
Sure, yeah, yeah. And then what I'll do is the next board meeting, I'll have those job descriptions that are affected with those changes. We'll have them and then, maybe by resolution or something, we'll have it that those job descriptions change, to reflect that wording.
Well, we can talk about that at the workshop and then make a
Yep.
decision the next week. So
All right,
that would
sounds
work
good.
out good.
Yeah,
All right.
all right. Thank you for your time. And I think I'm up next
You
again.
are up next. Number 6, consider discussion and possible action on vacant chief deputy recorder.
Michelle's mad at me. I'm making her sit up here with me. Yeah, so as you know, we've been going through trying to find somebody to fill that chief deputy recorder position, and we're advertising. Talking to Michelle and us kind of having conversations about her office and kind of what the future of that looks like. We both kind of agree that right now, having somebody come in as that chief deputy recorder, might be kind of a strong learning curve for somebody to just step into that position.
Yep.
So we've been talking about possibly holding off on that chief deputy recorder position and hiring another deputy recorder to bring in to get that person up to speed with that office as far as the recorder functions, with that possibility of moving that individual into a chief deputy recorder position when that time comes available. And Michelle kind of feels comfortable of letting that person be in part of that position.
Well, and she gets to train them.
What's that?
She'll get to train her.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what's the difference in the roles? Can you lay that out? Or the, different title?
Yeah,
Right.
so if the recorder is gone, the chief deputy is able to step into and do everything that the recorder would do, that they have the knowledge of the statutes and requirements for recording a document. Currently, our current deputy has been there not quite a year, so we're still learning there as well.
Yep.
We put the applications out. We did get applicants, but none of them have legal experience. Yeah. And it is, to understand what the documents are supposed to do, takes a little bit of time.
Sure.
And then the legal descriptions are always fun.
So Michelle, you were the chief
Yes, I was,
and now you moved up obviously because of Mary's retirement.
correct.
How long have you been there? Can I ask
Yeah, I think
I came in July of 2019. Before that, I did work in attorney's office, very much in the probate part of the legal process. Very familiar with probate process, the deeds. Not so much mortgages, but I feel like I came in with strong knowledge.
So, I mean, you've got years and years and years of experience for it, and I tend to agree with what you're saying is literally to hire somebody off the street that may not have that, or limiting your search,
Yeah.
I think would be very, very hard, because you're looking for this person.
Correct.
Versus,
Yeah.
so your
And-
idea of having another deputy just come in to learn the process before somebody would move up, I think is an excellent idea.
And it widens the scope too, as far as, those, those people that may not have been necessarily qualified to be that chief deputy, but are qualified to be that deputy and come in and start learning that process to get to that point. So that's kind of our goal and angle of what we wanted to do, is take a step back, kind of refocus, and possibly put out for that deputy recorder position. But wanted to bring it to the Board of Commission just for your
Yep,
process.
it sounds reasonable to me to what you're requesting.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, we trust you to know best in that role and in that office to understand what the skills and the needs are. So if you can cast a wider net and look.
So do you want an action to change that?
Yeah, I mean, if we can do an action to, change that
Change the search to a regular
deputy
deputy
recorder.
recorder.
Yep.
You have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to change the search to a deputy recorder.
Second.
Any further discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right,
Awesome.
good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 7, consider accepting low quote for website development and design and maintain ADA compliance from Revise in the amount of $37,900.
Here comes our IT guy.
Right, here comes the
After
IT
he's
guy.
been picked on.
So I guess I submitted this request because we need to update our website. It has to be ADA compliant by 2020.
I don't know that the date's important right now. It's a date behind us.
But it needs to be updated, our website does. And this is a non-budgeted item. So we'll have to look at our, capital money that we have in order to do that and, maybe look at some other areas where we, not in his budget, but, see where we have some money to pay for it. But it is something that needs to be done. And Andy thoroughly researched two companies.
Of the 11 counties in our region, 9 of them either use Civic Plus or Revise. So those are the 2 that we really pushed. The other 2, they're self-hosted. That what we're doing right now, we do it internally. Unfortunately, none of us are web developers by trade. We know enough to be dangerous, and we've gotten it done this far. So we've saved a lot of money, but unfortunately, as things are getting a little more strict, some more requirements that have to be put on, all the compliance and all the things that go with it. We just need to get someone who is more tailored towards government websites. So Revise and Civic Plus, both of them are fine products. Revise was significantly less expensive. I did reach out to the department heads, had them go through the sites, take a look at different things, what they thought was better. On the outside, both of them are great. Management might be a little tougher with Revise, but again, that's not what the public sees. The public's gonna see a website that works well, has all the information, easy to find, and works on mobile devices. So ultimately, we're
But just
going
as
with
an
the tried and true.
example, the board packet that's on the website would not be compliant because it's scanned.
You're right, PDF scanned are a problem, something we'll have to redo. There's a lot to ADA compliance regarding color patterns and navigation and, being compatible with e-readers and stuff. Many times we have documents that are scanned as PDFs and they're out there as a PDF, but they're just an image PDF, they're not really tailored towards an e-reader, so. It'll be a project. This is something that's gonna take, 9 months to a year to get completed as we go through all of our stuff and rebuild a new website. But it'll be hosted with Revise, and they'll be guiding us and doing a lot of the heavy lifting, so.
Total thing is 37,900?
Yeah, this actually worked out really well, that they were willing to give us basically a 5-year payment plan, interest-free. So we would have an annual maintenance cost. I believe the annual maintenance cost is like $3,600. And then the first initial design of the website was, I don't know, 17 or 18,000. They'll just take the whole thing, break it out over 5 years, and then we'll just pay our annual maintenance each year for the next 5 years at the rate of what, 75.80, and then after the 5 years is done, whether we do a redesign or whether we just keep going with status quo, the rate would change. But it kind of locks us in for 5 years, so there's no hidden cost.
So only this year, we would be not budgeted the 75.80. It's a lot easier to swallow.
Compared to Brian, I'm looking good, right?
Yeah.
I have to agree.
That's one
So, I
good
mean,
That is dropping the bucket compared to Brian.
Exactly. This is a no-brainer.
So the cost proposal is in phases. What would their timetable be for implementation and having the design done and all that?
Oh, our blue sky deadline would be live the end of this year.
Okay.
They're just taking the initial design costs and breaking it over 5 years for us, interest-free. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Good deal.
Yeah, so, that works out well.
Is there ways to move that? I mean, it's $7,500. It's still money. We could move some line item money around.
I think we can find that. So what other counties use Revise, do you know?
Local to us, Fillmore, Wabasha,
Goodhue?
Goodhue is in-house, they're written in-house. Olmsted is written in-house. So Olmsted and Goodhue both write in-house, but all the other ones use either Civic Plus or Revise. Dodge, Winona's Civic Plus. Dodge.
Bigger tax base.
They look good. It wouldn't look exactly like theirs. We wouldn't have to
No,
have.
in,
But
It means they have a
The
person
basics,
that has.
you know,
those
government
counties use
templates.
lifts off, they are well,
Software.
good websites that you can
They're done
navigate.
well.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
We don't
I
want
think the Revise is good.
Oh, very much so. And when I did a straw poll with department heads, most people came back and liked the look of the Revise, the look and the navigation of the Revise better. But, you know, that's all preference.
So does the $4,100 a year for the annual maintenance fee, does that, it looks like it covers all the updates and hosting and all that, so
Yeah.
it's really not.
And right now, I don't know, we wrote our website in-house, we pay HostGator. You know, we have different, it's basically a WordPress site. We have a lot of plugins that we pay for. I mean, I would say annually right now, we're spending about $2,500. So it's not that radical of a change, so.
How about, does the counties have good support from Revise that you?
Yeah, we've reached out to different counties. I mean, both of them, like I said, the competitors with Civic Plus and Revise, both of them, they're good companies. Both of them have a fine product. You know, it's kind of a situation where, you know, we don't need to buy a Cadillac when a Taurus will do, you know, so it.
Well, this will get us all updated and everything the way we're supposed to be.
Compliant, help us maintain compliance. We'll have to change a little bit of our processes. Another thing is, it is a content management, CRM, so we can put more work on the individual departments to keep their content fresh versus us having to write everything.
That'd be
So,
great.
we'll be shifting or pushing the buck a little bit to different departments to make sure their stuff's up.
I'll make a motion to move forward with this project.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the contract, low quote of 37.9, correct?
Correct.
Right. Any further discussion?
I put a donation tab for plow trucks.
I'll see what we can do. Do a Kickstart campaign or something.
All right.
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Hold on. During tax season, you don't want
God,
to.
Carol,
Nobody's
don't
gonna
have to
die.
move.
You want to take care of these other two quick here before we go
Yeah,
into, consider
so-
approving county recorder credit card?
credit card, yeah. So the card was originally issued in Mary's name, and we're moving away from that. We just have departmental cards so that we don't need one for this. We would only issue them to the department head, so the person would take it and it wouldn't be in their name. So we're just moving to a departmental credit card for the recorder's office because we canceled Mary's.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Motion to approve.
Is there a second? All right. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consider reviewing and approving payments. Any questions on those?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now we'll move on to our MCIT board report with Jim Carrolls.
I have a handout here.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Jim Carrolls from, again, MCIT. I am your risk management consultant from MCIT. So we have, well, I guess just to start, my plan is just to take a few minutes and talk about MCIT, how we're doing and where we're going. And with this handout, I'm not going to read it verbatim, but I will touch on each section as we go through it and just highlight a few things. But again, I'm your risk management consultant. I have half the state. So for instance, MCIT has 81 of the 87 counties in our risk pool, and I have half of those, including Houston County. So, if you look at on the front page, the upper left-hand corner, it kind of talks about what MCIT is, and what we like to talk about is we call ourselves your insurance company, your insurance group. Technically, we're not an insurance company. We're a risk insurance pool, and there's a big difference. So we're made up of counties. 4 counties. So all of our only clients are counties. So, and it's just something to remind you that, all the money that you pay for your insurance goes for your needs, and, counties like you. Counties make up the biggest part of our pool. We do have other adjunct county functions, like for instance, the Historical Society, the Ag Society, some soil and water districts, but the biggest part of our pool is the 81 counties that makes up the pool. So it just remind that we're developed by you, for you, and so our interests are aligned for you. I don't get paid a commission. We're not beholden to stockholders. Again, so just the money we take in is to basically pay claims, set reserves, pay our administrative costs, and that's how we function. So. If you take a look on the right, upper right, we talk about just commissioners like you. Just a reminder that, for instance, Polly Heberlein is my primary contact and work with her and on MCIT functions. But just a reminder just to be involved if there's big claims or if there's MCIT functions that hopefully you can help stand by and help escort through the county. We just ask for your help there. And just also a reminder that MCIT does have a board we report to, and the board is made up of commissioners like you. It's made up of commissioners from around the state. They sit on our board from different sections of the state, so it's well represented. And just a reminder that your cohorts are our board as well. And again, the bottom talks about members. Just that working with your members on MCIT functions is how we can help move this and be a great partnership in terms of education, claims, whatever is MCIT related that we just look forward to partnering with you on. If you take a look at the next page, it starts to talk about, unfortunately, the bad news. Bad news is our costs are going up. The biggest reason, without it being written on there, is inflation. Inflation, we're not immune to inflation. As a matter of fact, insurance is deeply impacted by inflation. And some of those inflationary factors we'll get into, but here the top left talks about our reinsurance costs. So at MCIT, if we have a claim, we cover the first $850,000 of that claim. If we have a large property loss, for instance, that goes over $850,000, then we have reinsurance that sits on top of that. Well, reinsurance we get, most entities get, it's a global market. And in some cases, reinsurance premiums have doubled. And so that's a great impact on just about any insurance carrier. So because of that, we have taken a look from 2024 to 2025, we have essentially upped our deductible from $850,000 to $1 million. So now we're going to cover the first $1 million in order to bring some of those reinsurance costs down to sort of help with that area of costs for the program. If you want to get more into our inflation that affects our counties, such as you take a look at the bottom of the second page here, and you take a look at property values, and it gives you an idea from 2021 to 2025. Let's say in 2021, the total property insurance values that were in the pool for all the counties was $6.6 billion. 2025 is $9.2 billion. That's almost a 40% increase in those 4 or 5 years. And I think you probably see it on your personal property. You see the value going up. And that's great, I guess, better than the alternative. But insurance has to cover that value. Essentially, we have to cover that 40% increase. And it's predominantly some of it is new construction. Obviously, any counties that have millions of dollars of new construction would factor into it, but the bulk of that is really just the inflation of property values going up. So from 2021 to 2025. So gives you an idea of where some of the costs have been going. A real quick blip there. You have through us, you have boiler and machinery coverage there on the right. There's some enhancements coverage for 2025 with that. So it's like your boilers or elevators, large machinery types of, if that goes down, there's an enhanced coverage there, but we won't get too deep into it, because if you jump to the right, it continues to talk about, you can take a look at the rates and changes. It gives you a graph of the property, liability, and work comp rates. When you talk about inflation here for both of these, it's the things you think about. So for like property, it's the inflationary factors are the cost of building materials. The cost of labor has gone up now. Folks, getting raises to keep up with inflation. So if a building is severely damaged or demolished, it's again the cost to rebuild that is the inflationary factors that we are experiencing. Workers' compensation is twofold. It's the cost of your payroll and the cost of your injured employee claims. That makes up your work comp formula. We'll get a little more into that on the next page. But sticking with this page, if you look on the right, we do pay out dividends, and you can see the 2024 Houston County dividend there that was paid out. And again, while we talk about that, that's a good thing. But just to talk about the philosophy here is not necessarily the goal. Our goal isn't always to give you the biggest refund as possible. It's more, obviously we'd rather do that than the alternative, but the goal for us is to right price you up front, and then your dividend is basically all of our expenses, and whatever's left over, we give back to the county. So, but what we'd like to do is figure out what to charge for your contributions up front, forecast our losses, and almost come out with a zero dividend. But having a dividend is better than others. It's like the same philosophy of tax return. It's great to get a tax return, but maybe you're paying in too much all year round to get that tax return. And so we're kind of trying to get more closer to zero than not. But inevitably, if we do have a dividend, means we had a better year than forecasted. So that's a good thing. So does that make sense?
A few years ago, we used to get almost six figures.
Yeah, and that's where they kind of, I don't know, and then I don't know if they changed the pricing up front with that, or if you experienced anything like that, or some of it also. So it's kind of like how you get your dividend is, again, we take in all your contributions minus claims paid, our expenses, and then depending on how also the investments go for that year, we do invest. And then whatever is left at the end of the year is what's paid out, and so there's a little bit of portion that's, that changes with that too. But
where does Houston County dividend fall within the percentage of? Is it like the lower half of those dividends that are provided to counties, the 81 counties, or is it high?
I'd say it's average. I'd say it's right on par from what I've seen. County your size, your experience. So yeah. The bottom page talks about how we're doing with cyber. Cyber is a coverage that has really been getting a lot of notice in recent years because cyber is here to stay. It's only going to get more complicated, obviously. So, and so it gives an idea of how we've been doing since 2020. And what I want to highlight here is, so for instance, in 2023. We experienced $1.7 million of claims in this portfolio. And we thought, wow, is that going to be the new norm? Is that where we're going with this? And then in 2024, it was $567,000. Quite a drastic drop from the year before, which is good. And really what we've drilled into and figured out that a lot of, why is because a lot of counties are taking ownership of their IT training. They're taking ownership of that personnel training, so people aren't clicking on malicious websites or links or things like that. That's how helpful that has been from 2 years ago to last year, is what we can see. So again, it's early to track trends. We're going to continue to track it. Hopefully, this 2025 mimics 2024 versus 2023, but I guess we'll see. But it gives you an idea of what's going on in that industry and how it can impact a county, so.
So on that claims number for cyber, let's say a county makes a payment to a fraudulent individual, $250,000, and it turns out to be a fraudulent billing, and they paid it, lost the money. Does MCIT replace that money?
Yep, so you do have a coverage there. I don't believe the sub-limit is 250,000. There is a.
There is a limit.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, there is. The overall, for any given loss is $500,000 in this area.
Okay.
So, and then there's a sub-limit for extortion or for fiduciary crimes of that, misdirected payments, I think it's called. And so we've been tracking this to make sure that that 500,000 number is still valid. And so far to date, we've not had a county pierce that 500,000, even with all those 1.7 million. So we've elected to keep the same coverage for 2025 as the 500,000. And we've actually hired in this area. The good news is if you have a cyber claim, you're not going to deal with me. You're going to deal with an expert. We have a couple more folks that are more in tune with how to handle and are more up to speed in this whole entire cyber arena and things like that. And especially if there's a claim. Vetted claims folks that know how to handle this. As soon as you think there's malicious activity, notify us immediately, because chances are they've been in there a while. They're not just the day of that you noticed it. And so the sooner we can get in to help you, the sooner the better these claims go, so.
So you haven't changed the up to $500,000?
No.
What's the premium change? Plus.
Well, it's baked in, so whatever your overall premium is, you get a contribution, we call it a premium payment, for your property and casualty. It's not split out for what your portion of that is cyber. So whatever your
How is it configured to get to that number? You have this number, you have this number, you have this number, workman's comp's added into it.
Yep.
And it comes up with Houston County has to pay this much money.
Yeah, so.
And you ain't changing the rates here, so did our rates go up from 24 to 25?
Well, that's the problem. So everybody's rates went up because of the property and casualty and work comp. So it all goes into the bucket. And so you have these actuaries, these mathematicians, and they take a look at how did all the counties do. You're in the pool with everybody. That's the whole point. You get experience rated on your work comp, so that impacts you from your losses. But the overall counties, how they do collectively, property, casualty, cyber, it gets figured out how we did for the year, and then you get your contribution rates set on that.
So we may not have had any claims, and
It doesn't matter.
Yep, that's correct.
it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So you're just split up between the 87 counties, and
Yep.
that's how it is.
That's the pool concept. Or, the other way, you go to an insurance company and you get experience rated. So if you have a horrible year, your premiums double. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Or if you have, in this case, if you have a bad year, sometimes you're insulated. If you have a good year, you may not feel the overall benefits, but you're all 81 of you are in it together.
So you made the comment that, cyber is not your area.
Right,
Yep.
correct.
How about snowplow trucks? Are they-
Pump trucks, well,
Yeah. There's a couple pictures of them on here.
I would just like to know.
We had an earlier conversation about this before you were here.
okay. Well, we can get the vehicles later, they're on the next page. I
Okay,
don't know.
sure, let's go on. Let's move on.
Okay, yeah. So on the last page, upper left, your workers' compensation area of this, you get a work comp rate. It's determined by, again, a formula determined that's made up by these mathematicians that they come up with county your size, that experiences your hazards, and so on and so forth. And you get this work comp rate, it's called an experience mod, and an experience mod, say, for instance, is 1.0. So if your mod rate is 1.0, that means you're doing average. You have an average work comp impact for a county your size and your hazards. So for instance, your mod rate is 0.98, which is really good. I mean, it's better than average. I mean, it means that you're doing 2% better than the average county of your size. If it was 1.02, you'd be doing 2% worse. You know, so anything under 1.0, you're doing better than average. So that just obviously encouraged to keep that going. And the way that gets experienced is it's not just based on a previous year. It goes back 5 years, and it looks like you know, you have some good years coming, so that may even go lower if, again, you have a good year in 2025 with your work comp. And again, just to put on another area that we have at MCIT, we have safety and loss control services for you to utilize. Alethea Sheridan is your safety and loss control person. She can be brought out to help with OSHA-related, safety-related, safety committee, employee safety type activities to help you in this area, to help try to keep your claims and your worker safety improvement going. So if you take a look, again, on this page, go to the right, it gives you an idea of how, not just Houston County, but how all counties are impacted by claims, and it gives you an idea of you know, what departments experience the most claims and a cost ratio associated with them. It's really not a secret that the sheriff and jails experience the most claims per year, and by ratio have the highest dollar claims because they're 24/7. They're high hazard work. You know, it just makes sense. Same thing actually with highway department. They can be 24/7. Higher hazard work. Does Houston County have a nursing home or a county medical facility that okay, so they're third on the list because again of, you know, probably higher hazard type, and then it drops pretty well after that. And without knowing full well, I would just assume even a particular county mimics this. So for like Houston County, I would assume you experience your most claims for work comp in sheriff and jail and highway department, I would imagine. So again, and so areas of emphasis to help safety and loss control there is always helpful. But if you look down at the bottom, it talks about, again, for the overall pool, how we do with autos and property liability. If you take a look, our most frequent line of claim activity is autos. Again, this makes sense because we have 35,000 autos in the pool that we cover. And so it's just a frequency thing, right? So they have the biggest risk of frequency to claims and things like that, so.
Law enforcement's pretty high.
Yeah, we had a pretty, you know, last winter for 2024 was a good winter, but overall, all 81 counties whapped a lot of deer. So that didn't help. But there wasn't a lot of, you know, snow-related, ice-related crashes as it been in the past. But so, you know, just things like that. It's just how, you know, it ebbs and flows. Again, just a reminder in the middle, you know, we want to be a source for advice, resources, and programs. We are putting, just like here in Houston County, we're putting more money into our website. We want our website to be a true one-stop shop, a true customer interface for the counties where you can go to our website, find things that you need, resources, education, trainings, contact information. You can always call me, but other departments you may need to get a hold of through MCIT are on there. Again, other programs and services on the bottom that we offer. Just a reminder, so a lot of times an employee assistance program is delivered through like your health benefits. Here with MCIT, you have an employee assistance program that we offer, that's part of the program you buy into. So Sand Creek is our vendor there. I looked in, the average county usage on this is 4%, and Houston County was 3%. So that's not good or bad. So 3% of your folks did utilize EAP, which is good. That's good. It's there to be used. It's there if needed. They're good folks doing great, wide variety of counseling in a wide variety of areas. So by all means, it's if it's needed, by all means, please use it and maybe promote it if you could. You guys do subscribe to, we offer Patrol. Patrol is specifically for law enforcement. It's specific information given to law enforcement, trainings given to law enforcement for law enforcement. And so that's a good thing as well. So that wraps up the whole outline. You know, again, read it. If you have questions in more in detail as you read it, by all means, reach out. But unfortunately, the thing to highlight was the inflation. Unfortunately, if anybody has a crystal ball and can see where that's going, that would be helpful. But hopeful that if we ever do get past some of these inflationary factors, we can get back to better rates. But other than that, hopefully you guys had a good year last year. Looking forward to a good year this year with you. So, any other questions or concerns?
So if we paid our 2025 premium,
You should.
In January.
Yeah.
January, we pay that every January. Or we
Yeah.
pay- was that considerably higher than in 2024? Not too bad.
I can tell you if you want. Overall, the average increase was 18.5%. And Houston was 13.5%, so.
Okay.
How it broke down between liability, work comp, I don't know, we'd have to go back and look, but I looked, just did a quick glance at that number.
So are you seeing that still probably gonna be climbing a little bit for 26?
Well, the only foggy thing is how we do on claims. You know, so just, you know, if we have a severe weather or, you know, big time liability claims where we get sued for various activities, that's all a wild card, but, I don't know, you know, and again, are the inflationary factors starting to level off? Hopefully, so it's still, it's a little foggy as far as I'm concerned.
So your big time claims that you talk about, like, let's say a prison issue or
Yeah.
somebody files a suit, how much does MCIT cover for that? All of it?
Well, again, we cover your tort cap. So, thankfully by Minnesota, there's a cap that we can be sued for in Houston County, be sued for, and it's 500,000 per person, 1.5 million per occurrence. I can take you down a rabbit hole, but I'm gonna try not to. A lot of times in a jail claim, they'll take it outside of the Minnesota tort caps and they'll sue you for a federal
Yeah.
civil rights violation. And that'll take you outside of the 1.5 million, which you don't have coverage for. You know, maybe you have coverage to the 1.5, but if you do get hit for a $2 million loss, you will only have coverage for 1.5 million. And,
Right.
you know, and so we try to keep it.
So when you hear these big numbers of big, suits, the counties are paying for that extra. I mean, they're not
Yep.
getting it all covered.
Yes, they are.
Taxpayers are paying that.
Yep. Yep. It kind of goes back to those claims with jails and sheriffs, and you know, it's the world we're living in, and it's what they're experiencing, and trying to interface with the inmates, trying to interface with the public the right way, but you know, but we still get sued.
Just curious on the 6 counties that don't,
Yep.
are they
They-
metro
Yep.
counties?
No, well, they are the 6 largest counties in Minnesota. St. Louis County, Olmsted County, and then 4 metro counties, Hennepin, Dakota, Ramsey, Anoka. And they have the ability to self-insure, which is a big gamble. And then the other 81 are in the pool, which is where we technically, ideally like it. Otherwise, you get a Hennepin County in the pool, it would be out of whack
It
for
would,
all,
right.
for,
Yeah.
especially for Houston
Yeah,
County.
we don't want that.
Yeah, right, so,
All right, good enough.
all right, thank you, have a good day.
Thank
Yep,
you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to administrator updates. Carol, you have anything? Okay,
We got the closed session, don't we? Gotta go back to that.
you wanna finish these updates up first, or?
Do the updates, okay?
Okay. I don't have anything as board chair to bring up right now at this time. Commissioner Wright, do you have a report?
Several meetings with Iowa Mental Health, SHAC, EDA. You'll notice on the bottom of your agenda is the Bluff Country Collaborative Career Fair. And hiring event is hopefully tomorrow unless it snows again and it's postponed, but.
We're not snowing.
So, and Finance Committee, but nothing major to report.
Commissioner Zender,
Nothing.
Commissioner Schultz.
Pretty much covered our land use meeting this morning, with what was brought up at the normal board meeting. Tomorrow I have a policy meeting with the garbage people again, so
Oh, boy.
we're doing the updates there.
Talk
so
garbage.
We can.
All right,
Greg?
Nothing, I'm good.
okay. We can go into closing public comment. Is there anybody who would like to make another closing public comment? Okay. All right, do we have a motion to go into closed session? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. 10:49, Commissioner Myrie made a motion to come out of closed session. Commissioner Wright seconded it. And Brent, you have a statement.
The board met in closed session to discuss labor negotiations. No action will be taken.
All right. Anything else that needs to come before the board? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.